Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Hein Hobain. Nice to meet you, Mr. Carl Thomas. Uh, it's a great pleasure. Thank you for your time. I'm from Metal World United. Thank you, Marcus and Nuclear Blast, for the opportunity to have us. Uh, well, I'm pretty excited about the new album, Defectum Omnium, March 8th. It's pretty close. Uh, EXHORDER has given us three excellent albums so far. Slaughter in the Vatican, The Law, More, The Southern Skies, and now Defectum Omnium via Nuclear Blast Records. How do you feel about this, Kyle?
We're really excited. We're mostly just happy that it's finally coming to the time to release it, because this album was finished in the summertime last year. So it's been a long process of getting the artwork done, making sure that everything is ready for this day, and that we can actually start touring right after the album comes out. So that's the beauty of it right now. Is it seems like it took forever to get here to this point, but we're here, and that's exciting.
Well, congratulations. Fans are pretty excited, to see you in 2024 with some new music. I heard Year of the Goat. It's going to be a great album, man. I have one question. How did you and Pat of Brian team up? How that happened? Tell us a little bit about that. It's pretty exciting for the fans too.
Jason, our bass player Jason, and Pat have known each other since they were teenagers. They're from the same area, so they're old friends. We all knew Pat from his time in Cannibal Corpse also. So when I started playing guitar for this band in late 21, we felt like we still needed to have another guitar player. It just makes sense in EXHORDER to have two guitar players. So Jason said, do you guys want me to call Pat and see if he wants to play? I know he's not doing anything. And we were like, yeah, of course. So I think Pat was a little cautious about getting out and playing again. He even told Jason, he's like, why do y'all want to play with me? And Jason's like, because you're our friend and you're killer. So do you just want to come to the house and jam with us and see how it goes? And he said, yeah. And so ever since then, Pat's just kind of been with us. And we asked him late in the year last year, like, do you want to do this like permanently? And he said, yeah. So he's an official member of the band now.
That's great. That's great. And how you feel playing guitar live? Because it's something new for the fans to see you with a guitar, and you do that great, man. Congratulations. Have you been playing guitar for many years, for a long time, or is something new for you?
I started playing musical instruments when I was 8 years old. So when I was about 14 or 15, I started playing guitar. So I never was a thrash guitar player before now, but to me, it was just, I'll just learn how to do this. And that's what happened. It kind of was, me playing the guitar was kind of born out of, well, we needed a guitar player, and I'm the only original member left. So if we're going to have a new guitar player, it makes sense to have one of the original members be a guitar player. So, and I'm enjoying it, to be honest with you. I have more fun in this band than I've ever had in the history of EXHORDER. This is more fun for me now than it was back then.
Yeah, because it's very difficult, to play. One thing is to compose at your house, and other thing is to go on stage and play and sing at the same time. No, not everyone can do it.
You're not wrong. It's a lot of this.
Yeah. So, and it sounds awesome, that a complete show without making mistakes. And remember everything. It's a lot of work. So we appreciate that. We really do.
Good. Thank you.
The portrait is pretty interesting. It's like death embracing humanity, something like that. Black and white. I know that you have spoken something about you focus on the shadows and the somber feeling you have when you look at what is going on in the world,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which I find pretty
That's
interesting. I find it pretty interesting because it's something we can all identify with, and it's like a
yeah.
reflection of reality in the world nowadays.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
the album will be
even before.
conceptual or has diverse themes. I know that you have 12 tracks, but
Yeah.
about the lyrics, please tell
Even
a little talk a little more about your inspiration in the lyrics for this album.
life. I mean, really, like even before the pandemic, I just think that the world is gradually just in a downward spiral. It's not good. There's natural disasters happening. Um, People are, you know, just at war with each other. Um, People are self-serving. They're not looking out for their fellow humans, and it just feels like the world is a toilet and it's everybody's fault. And that's really kind of what the title means. The title Defectum Omnium is Latin and it translates to English as the failure of all. So we are all the failure of what's happening in the world right now. And the world is looking for a way to clean itself, much like the dinosaurs and the saber-toothed tiger. And, you know, when things aren't right for the world gets rid of it. And I think we're resisting right now, but eventually the world, if we don't fix things, if we don't change what we're doing, the world's going to get rid of us like we're fleas.
Well, it's pretty deep, deep thoughts.
So yeah, that album cover is very much the child, you could say, is represents humanity, and the angel of death is basically Earth saying goodbye. I'm done with you.
Yeah, so well, man, yeah, I can't wait to read the lyrics. Uh, we have great titles, man, great titles, very interesting titles here. So, um, Under the Gaslight, Forever and Beyond Despair, the tale of unsound minds, Divide and Conquer, Taken by Flames, Year of the Goat, Defective Omnium, Stolen Hope, Three Stage of Truth, Place in the Well, Sedition, Desensitized, Your Six. Uh, can you give us a little gift in advance? Can you talk a little bit about what you feel about, for example, each one of those songs, just a little advance
Yeah, sure. And for me, like
lyrically?
I do have to say, like what the songs mean to me aren't as important as what they mean to you. From my opinion, I think like how my experiences that I wrote down are how they relate to you in your life is more important than what it meant to me. But I can at least give you an idea, song by song, what like Wrath of Prophecies, for instance. That's basically kind of like Nostradamus, the seer, the prophet Nostradamus, uh, from I guess he was in the Middle Ages, maybe several hundred years ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
he prophesied about things, the end of the world, the apocalypse, and stuff. And people have been debating as to whether or not the time is now for quite some time now. And I'm just looking at all the natural disasters and the state of the earth, and it's like it seems fitting to talk about that right now. Under the Gaslight, it's kind of a reference to anybody who's ever been the victim of a manipulative person who's a narcissist, that, you know, where there's a predator, there's prey, and they go hand in hand with each other. And that song's kind of about that. Forever and Beyond Despair is a punk rock song that is totally like a, you know, kind of a fuck the system song, a song rebelling against and objecting to the powers that be. Tale of Unsound Minds, everybody that went through the pandemic and lockdown can relate to this song. It's about
Yeah.
isolation and being isolated to the point where you're lonely, but then when you start getting around people again, you just want to be by yourself. And what it can do to your mind. Divide and Conquer is another reference to the powers that be, and how people today, like, if this person over here feels this way about some politics and this person over here feels another way about politics, when they start talking, they just want to fight. And I think if people are with different ideas would learn how to listen to each other and hear each other, I don't think there'd be as much fighting. But I think that, especially here in the United States, where politics is a two-party system, they've got it designed to where this side's always fighting this side instead of working together. And until we figure that out, they're always going to be in control of everything that we do. What comes out? Oh, Year of the Goat. Year of the Goat's actually more just a fun song. Jason has this character called Anton Evil Goat, and it's actually a stuffed animal, a little stuffed goat. But Anton has bad habits. He's a bad influence, and it's basically just something funny that Jason does, where he can say things through this goat that he wouldn't be able to say in real life. It's just a funny imaginary character. So the song is actually not just a tribute to Anton Evil Goat, but the words and lyrics are like what Anton would say if he was writing and singing a song.
Okay.
Taken by Flames. There's another one where people are just an imaginary situation where people are fed up and rebelling against the system to the point where there's apocalyptic tragedy. Defectum Omnium is the Latin chant right before the song Stolen Hope. The Latin words non est spe ruina impropesta, idem passe sumus finis omnium, translates to there is no hope, collapse is near, we will all suffer the same fate. So it's just kind of a bleak, uncomfortable, repetitive chant building up into the song Stolen Hope, which is another one that's apocalyptic. There's a breakdown in the middle that's really goes into a descent into madness. And that song has a lot to do with the hopelessness that the world feels day to day based on either their personal situation, their financial situation, or just the state of affairs in the world. Three Stages of Truth, the acoustic piece, that's Jason did all of that. It's really amazing, I think. And it's a three-part movement that takes you into Three Stages of Truth. I'm sorry, Lacing the Well. Lacing the Well is kind of like, you know how sometimes there's a group of people that get along, but there's one person in there who kind of causes problems and creates a bad environment for people. A toxic person, as some people might say.
Yeah.
So that's about toxic people and how they can kind of ruin everything for everybody. Sedition, another punk rock song. about fuck the system. That's
Yeah.
kind of a common theme in this album. Desensitized, another song about hopelessness, but it's more of a reflection of people who no longer care. You know, they're either too busy looking at their phones, or just not wanting to help somebody who's in need, or hurting people for no good reason, stealing from people because they want it. I think it's a bad thing that the world is trending in that direction. You're Six, the last song. This is the song where we have Rick Wartell and Bruce Franklin from Trouble playing the guitar solos. But it's kind of the only hopeful song, and that's partly why it's last. The whole album is really dark and brooding and uncomfortable, but this last song kind of offers a ray of hope. It's about when you feel like you can't go on, but the people that are around you, your friends and your family, lift you up to help you be strong again. And that's it. That's how the album ends. So the album does end with a little ray of sunshine and hope.
Yeah. So, pretty interesting. I think that Exhorder, how you say it, is helping the world with these reflections. Is helping,
Wow.
humanity in certain way with these dark reflections, making people think about what's going on, bring them back to reality, put your feet on the ground, start to be intelligent, and let's see where if we can make a different future, rethink stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just one person, so I can't change the world. And I don't know that I want that responsibility anyway. That's a lot of responsibility. But you're not wrong. A lot of these things we're talking about on this album, we just want people to start thinking a little bit, like maybe if one or two people listen to this album and say, "Man, I really should think differently about this or that," then maybe it was all worth it. Because again, I'm not a saint, and I don't have everything together, but I do at least. I grew up in a family that cared about people, so I try to help people when I can, and try not to hurt people in the process. And I'm not saying nobody else is like that, but it just seems like it's almost like a lost art that people are starting to just I mean, whatever, I just have to take care of myself, and I don't think that's a good way to live.
Yeah, you're a great human being, man, and we appreciate it. We need intelligent lyrics. Lyrics does matter, man. Some people think that I sing whatever. No, no. This is a very intelligent album, and I can't wait to enjoy it. So,
Thank you.
if just one person open his eyes and see, hey, you know what? This is a pretty interesting point of view, and I can apply this to my life or my surround. It will be cool, man. Uh, it's important. It's important what you're doing. It's very important
Thank
to
you.
my thinking.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that.
yourself produced the album.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience about producing an album, because man, you've been doing a lot of work, like play guitar live and sing as well, and at the
Yeah.
same time, create the lyrics, the music, and beyond that, produce the album. That's an entire world full of work, hard work, man.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, the
I've
technical
actually, like,
process.
a lot of the albums that I've recorded a lot of albums with a lot of different bands, and most of them I have helped produce the album, not as the only producer. I've never produced one totally by myself, but this time when we started talking about making it, um, we were making our demos, and the demos were sounding really good, like album quality. So Jason and Sasha and I all agreed, let's produce this ourselves. We know what we want. We definitely know what we don't want, but we also know how to get what we want. And I think at first Nuclear Blast was a little concerned about us producing it on our own. I think they were worried that we wouldn't be focused enough to do it. So they had us talk to a producer or two, and we did, but we never did find anybody that was like, that convinced us that they could do the job better than us, for starters. And most of them were like, you know what, y'all don't really need a producer, but I'd be happy to do it. And that's where we went with it. We said, why spend the money to bring someone else on board that isn't in the same place that we are?
Yeah. So you felt free to express yourself. Each one of you
Yeah,
guys felt free, had total
yeah,
freedom to compose, to write whatever you want.
yes, yes. We wrote it together and we produced it together. And basically, from the writing process to the actual recording process, we would always present our ideas to each other and listen. If somebody said, I don't like that part too much, maybe we can make it better, or try this part instead. And that way we all listened to each other and we tried it. And either it was the right thing or it wasn't the right thing. But there was never any fighting, like, this is my part, my song, and we have to do it this way. And if not, I'm out of here. And there was never any of that. It was always, let's listen to each other and let's make the songs as good as they can possibly be. Because if a person I'm playing music with raises their hand and says, I don't know that I get this, or I think it could be better, I want to hear what they have to say.
I'm pretty happy to hear that, because the lineup is working along. It's very hard in a band. That's one of the hardest parts in a
Yes.
band, the communication
Yeah.
thing, the egos
Yes.
and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
It's very
great, man.
difficult. I mean, and the more people you have, the more opinions you have and egos, like you said. So that's a big reason why I think we're enjoying it so much right now. Is now we're 4-piece instead of 5, and that's one less person uh, to have to agree with, to feed, to buy a plane ticket for, to pay out. So I think when you have the more people in a band, the more chance you're going to have that there's going to be people leaving and coming and leaving and coming. Look at Rush and ZZ Top. That's
Yeah.
2 bands that went a very long time with just the same lineup, but there's only 3 of them. It's just
Yeah.
hard to do, I mean, I know a lot of fans get really sentimental and fall in love with this version of a band, and this is not the same version of this band, so I can't. Well, you can still love the band, and you don't have to like the new version necessarily, and you can always support the old stuff. That's fine too, but we've got work to do.
Yeah. About your influences back in the day, the punk, rock stuff, Motorhead, and all that. But nowadays, you have new influences.
um Man, I don't listen to as much metal as I did when I was younger. That's the truth. For me, because I play so much metal, when I'm home by myself, it's almost the
Yeah.
last thing I want to listen to. So I listen to it. I listen to a lot of 70s and 80s new wave, old punk, old funk music. Um,
Yeah.
so I try to listen to things that are very different, especially when I'm writing and recording music, I definitely don't want to listen to any heavy metal because I think you take a risk of being influenced by something that's more along the lines of what you're doing. So if I'm going to listen to something and have it influence my writing, I'd rather it be something very different, and that way it kind of brings a new flavor to what I'm doing that's different from what other people might be doing.
Yeah, you've been a pioneer in your style. So I know you have very unique uh, songwriting, style. So we appreciate that. Always trying to bring yourself to music, to be unique, to
Yeah,
don't copy other guys, and you're always being like that. So we really appreciate it, and that's
thank
why
you.
we respect you so much. You know.
Thank you.
So, what advice would you give to new bands that nowadays are trying to live of metal? Things have
Um,
changed from back in the days till now. Somebody
quit,
that's starting with a dream and say, "I want to make metal too, man." And I'm starting a
I,
young guy in 2024. Say, "Let's do it." And what advice you could give them?
I would tell them to give up, quit, and get a real job or go to school.
Why,
No,
man?
no. I respect people who start bands now because it's a very difficult time to start a band and make it grow. I mean, you've got to really bring something interesting and different to get noticed these days. So I would tell everybody, obviously, be prepared because it's not going to be a quick thing and it's not going to yield a lot of money. But it if you're going to bring your music to people, make it interesting and try to make it different. That's the best advice I could give.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. One more thing. You're a producer, as the same. You're a EXHORDER frontman, but you're also a producer. So nowadays, if there's a new band that want to be produced by you, can they contact you?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
That's great news, guys, because you know how to make it sound powerful, man. That's great news. So give us, please, I don't know, maybe some final words to the fans about the upcoming
Just
tours, upcoming plans of EXHORDER, something you want to
yeah,
say to
we've
us.
got a lot of stuff that we want to do moving forward. We want to play as many places as we can, so we'll try to get to everywhere as soon as we can. But we do want to thank everybody that's been supportive and been there for us, and the people that are new fans. We welcome you, and we're grateful to have you here. So to us, this is great. We're finally living our dream.
Great. Thank you very much. Defectum Omnium via Nuclear Blast Record, March, March 8th, the
March
fourth
8th.
studio album. We can't wait. Thank you very much, Mr. Carl Thomas, for your time. Thank you very much, Marcos and Nuclear Blast, for the opportunity of having us Metal World United. Well, can't wait to see you live here in the United States, man.
We
Thank you
can't
very
we
much
can't
for everything.
we can't wait to get back out there. Thank y'all for having me.